How's it going, everybody? It's Zach, and I'm back with another conversation. Now, in my last video, a little while back, I talked about a lack of motivation, and I brought up a reason that I was gonna address in a future video, for that lack of motivation, and this is that video. As you can see, I'm gonna be talking about my last relationship that ended about 2 weeks ago. Um, I'm fine. I'm taking it all right. I mean, I was the one to break up with her, so it's a little different than for her. Um, but I'm all right, and I'm doing well, and I'm actually a lot happier out of the relationship now. So I just want to say preface that before I really dive into this. It's still weird, and I still might get a little bit sad while talking about it, but in general, I am happier out of the relationship than I am, 2 weeks ago when I was in it. So to start off, this is obviously girl number four. This is gonna continue the series, the mini series that I'm doing with the four girls that have been in my life. Um, I know I'm kind of jumping around. I'll probably do girl number three next, and then girl number two, just because girl number two was a weird situation. Um, so I don't really know how to jump into that or handle it in a video like this. But we're gonna jump into this one. It's gonna be a longer video. I got a note card. I'll probably get lost throughout it because it is longer, and I have a few points down that I want to hit on, and it may go haywire at points, but that's all right. Um, so to start out, basically, I met this girl at college, the spring semester of my freshman year. I just over. It's interesting because the fall semester of my freshman year was when girl three was around, and I I was in a situation where I had to forget about her and just move on, which is what I did over winter break between fall and spring semester. So I got out of my own head, and I kind of started forgetting about girl 3. And basically I told myself, I wasted a semester chasing after this girl. Um I'm just going to I'm not going to think about girls for this spring semester. I made a lot of friends, and I decided that I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm gonna focus on schoolwork, and I'm going to focus on just being with my friends because they're still my friends today, and they're literally some of my best friends. Um, so I decided to do that. I decided to stop chasing people and to just focus on schoolwork, keep my head down, and get through uh, the semester because I figured I need to be happy with myself. And at the time, like I go through phases of being happy with myself, and I go through phases where I feel like I need a change, or I need to do something and change myself to be the person I want to be. So I decided to take this time to do it. And 1 week into school, I met girl 4. Um, we met in a chemistry lab, um, and we got partnered up in the second class we did, and we started talking. It was a group of 3, and immediately the third person in the group was kind of third wheeling. I don't remember who it was, but me and this girl were just kind of talking the whole time during the lab, and kind of getting to know each other in that way. Um, and we left lab, and nothing really happened. I didn't see her for a week until the next class, and then the next class we didn't get partnered up, but we still like caught glances and would walk over and talk to each other a little bit, see how each other was doing, stuff like that. And it was after this class, I think, that later that night I found her on Instagram, and I just sent her a follow request. And now I'm a shy kid, kid. I don't know where that came from. I'm a shy kid, so I'm not one to start like a DM or anything. I've never had a Tinder. I think that stuff is kind of weird. I think it's a new this new idea of finding relationships through stuff like that is very strange. I think if you meet someone out and about or in a class that you're taking or in a club or something that you're interested in, you're gonna have better luck because you're gonna find someone that has something common with you, or in common with you, and it's gonna be much better than going off of looks, because that's all that Tinder is, and that's all that a lot of these websites are. Like, yeah, there's a little personality area where you can talk about yourself, but it's meant for swiping left and right on people you are attracted to. It honestly makes no fucking sense as far as a relationship perspective. I get like hookups and stuff like that. I mean, but in this instance, I wasn't looking for hookups. I was looking for a proper girlfriend because um, I'm not going to dive into that. But all right, like I said, I'm kind of going off topic. All of a sudden, I'm talking about Tinder. What the fuck? No, let's take it back a little bit. Um, so I added her on Instagram, and she accepted me like an hour later, and I was like, all right, sweet. I will tell you that hour was fucking stressful, just like waiting. But we added each other, and I never did anything. I was like, okay. Um, and a couple more weeks passed, and we still like talked in class, blah blah blah. And then one day I get a message. I think it was a weekend, and I get a message, and she says, like, "Hey, do you want to meet up and do the lab work for the class?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I was like, I'm around pretty much whenever. And what's funny is she actually kind of stood me up in this scenario, and I waited around all day that she said she would do it, and I heard no response from her. I kind of left the ball in her court to pick a time, for when to meet up, and I never heard anything. So I was like, all right, well, that's kind of a day wasted of doing nothing because I was waiting for this message. Um, so we continued to go. Nothing really got brought up about that situation. The next weekend, she does the same thing, and she's like, "Hey, do you want to meet up?" And I'm like, "Fuck it, sure." I was a little disappointed and upset and annoyed, but I was like, "Sure, why not?" And we actually did meet up this time. We did our work, and that kind of became a regular thing. We just started doing our work together for the lab every day. We had a couple more lab classes where we got partnered up, so that was always nice. And uh, the school that I go to has two campuses, and there's like a bus between them. One of the campuses has all of the buildings, like the housing for students. The other one has a lot of just classes. There are no houses, or like fuck, what are they called? Why can't I think of this? Dorms. That's the word. There are no dorms on this campus, so we started riding the bus together into classes. We had a lot of the not the same classes, but similar times for classes. So we would take the bus together pretty much every day. It felt like, and we really just started getting to know each other through working in lab, working outside of lab, and riding this bus together. And it was funny because what happened was, I was planning on going to a different school about 2.5 hours away. All of my high school friends are there, and I was gonna go because they go to like a major party school in Maine, and I was gonna go there and just like hang out with them, party a little bit, have some fun. It was like a long weekend, so I felt it was pretty a good idea. And I planned this a week before, and I'm getting ready to go up, and she is also going up for a different reason. She was going up to see some of her friends, um, which was pretty interesting. So we're both up at the school 2.5 hours away at the same time, and she ends up joining my friends and I one night for partying, and it was this night where again I'm shy, but get a little alcohol in me, and I'm all right. Um, but this up here is when I ended up just asking her out in general, like properly. So I asked her out. She said yes almost immediately, and I used to bring that up a lot. I was like, "Fuck, you were easy," because she did say yes within half a second, but um, I think she was just kind of waiting for me to ask the question. I did take probably longer than most people would, um, because we really started talking almost every day about 2 weeks before I ended up asking her. Which I don't know. That doesn't seem too long to me, but maybe it is. Um, so I asked her out, and I was piss ass drunk though. So I woke up the next morning, and we went all day. She went back with her friends. I was with my friends, and we both got back to our school. And that night, she texted me and she was like, "Hey, do you remember anything from last night?" And I was like, "Yeah, I remember most of it." And she was like, "Do you remember like asking me out?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do." And I think I said something along the lines of like, do you actually want to go through with that, or were we both just drunk?" And she was like, "No, I want to." Um, so that was pretty cool at that point. I was like, "Oh, all right." Um, so we we started to just hang out more back at our school. We would hang outside of class. Um, and I started meeting some of her friends. She started meeting some of my friends, and we just built this relationship, um, where this was towards the end of the fall semester. At this point, we had about a month left of school, um, so we hung out then. Blah blah blah. I'm getting sidetracked. Let me look at my note card. Oh, it literally just says relationship. Yeah, I really did a lot of planning for this. Um, we we talked a lot, blah blah blah, and then it was summer. Summer was fine. I didn't really see a lot of my friends because it's like new relationship. You want to be with the other person as much as you can while you can. So we saw each other about twice a week over the summer. We live an hour apart. Um, so we continued the relationship into the summer. We would talk every night, even if we didn't see each other, which is normal. Um, and then we got back to school. We were in different buildings halfway across the campus that we were on, um, but we still like hung out every night. Either I was in her room or she was in my room. That was fine. There was some conflict between her and my roommate's girlfriend, who my roommate's girlfriend was friends with me and everyone. We were kind of in this group before my roommate and her started dating. So I was. It's not like I wasn't friends with her specifically. Um, It's not like I knew her as my roommate's girlfriend. I knew her as a friend of mine who is now my roommate's girlfriend. So it was a little annoying seeing that feud develop, because they did not like each other. They just butted heads every chance they got. Um, it wasn't enjoyable to deal with, and I still look down on that scenario, and I'm like, why don't you be the better, like both of them? Why can't either of you be the better person? Like drop this, but they never did. And then the fall semester or the spring semester of that year, it was really weird because my girlfriend was kind of a huge partier before I met her. She got better. She wasn't great at school, and what happened is she actually ended up flunking out, um, which was really interesting for me because now I'm going back to school um, without her anywhere. She had to move out of her room. She was pretty upset. Um, but we tried to make things work through the 1 hour like long distance scenario, and we did make it work for a little bit. But it was weird, but it was also good because my roommate is kind of whiffed with his girlfriend. If you don't know what whiffed means, it's just she kind of has a little bit of control over him, or a lot of control. But she went and studied abroad, and she was planning on doing that. So now I showed up, and we were rooming together, and I was like, "Hey, my girlfriend isn't coming back, so it's literally us this semester." And I'll tell you one thing, it was a hell of a lot of fun. It was like a guy's vacation for a full semester. It was actually a ton of fun, and I have so many good memories from it. Which that this is the semester that just ended, so it got cut off short. But it was one of those things where we had no care in the world. We had no one else around telling us what to do or anything, so we could just do whatever the fuck we wanted, and we could tell our girlfriends, or we didn't have to. It wasn't up to them to know everything about what we were doing. So I mean, I'm saying that as if we like cheated and slept around, but no, it wasn't that. It was more like when 12-year-olds find out their parents aren't around and they play video games all night. It was kind of like that ordeal, where I don't know. It might look childish, but it was still a lot of fun. Just having the two of us. The two of us have mainly girlfriends, not like a girlfriend, but our friends are mostly female. So we were just kind of the two guys all the time. So we grew super close, um, uh, and there's just a lot of great memories that came from it. But come the end of the semester, I still saw her again during this time, maybe once every week or once every 2 weeks. We didn't see each other a lot. We still talked every day, but we didn't really. We dropped the whole FaceTime thing, which she was obsessed with FaceTime. If like I would try and call her, and she would decline the call and start a FaceTime video, and I goddamn hate FaceTime now that I'm out of this relationship. It's so obnoxious. It I don't get it. I get it for some instances, but to do it every night is awful. And it's just annoying because you sit there on your phone just talking at it. And if you go to do something else on your phone, some people are like, "Why can't I see you? You're on this FaceTime call and you're not here." And I'm like, "I don't want this." But um, it's breaking up was a little weird because we didn't have a fight at this time. We've had fights in the past, um, but we weren't fighting for the past couple months. We were fine, relatively. But the one thing that happened is I noticed we had no similarities, um, and we both were living different lives. And it was just really starting to get to me that this isn't someone that I could ever see myself marrying, and this isn't someone who I could ever see myself living with. So, I don't know if we're ever gonna move on from where we are right now, which is that weird, like 1 hour long distance relationship, kinda, or I guess mid distance. But um, during right around the end of school, when I was home, I uh, basically I was focusing on school, and I was also focusing on how I was gonna break up with this girl. And I've never like broken up with someone specifically in this way. Um, so I kept thinking about ways to do it, and I needed to find out what I was gonna say or when I was gonna do it. And I felt a little weird doing it during the whole quarantine thing, because it just, when you have no one, or when you have one person to talk to in quarantine like all the time, going to zero people to talk to in quarantine is a little, it's weird to think about. And I felt bad for like making other people go through the act of not being able to talk with someone like this. Um, but after finals were over, it really just consumed my thoughts, and I kept thinking about it, and I kept trying to plan out how to do it or when to do it. My original plan was to go through the summer, and when I was getting ready to go back to school, I was gonna let her know how I felt, and it just kind of made sense that way because I was gonna go back to school. I was planning on living with friends. I was gonna be focused on other things, but I kept thinking about that, and I felt bad because at a certain point, I was leading her on in a sense, right? Like I didn't want this relationship, obviously, because I planned on dropping it, and I was planning this for a while. So I just thought to myself, like, why? I'm just keeping this alive for no reason right now. And I just thought both of us could enjoy our summers a lot more if one, I felt this way, or I didn't feel this way because I was out of the relationship, and she knew how I really felt, so I didn't have to almost fake it for the summer. So what happened is randomly the day after I finished my finals, I called her at night, um, and I just told her I wanted to talk, and I just kind of explained how I was feeling, and that was kind of that. And that night was a little weird. I talked with my family a lot. I didn't really tell a whole lot of people because it was right around the time of graduation, and my sister was graduating, doing that whole online graduation thing, which was weird. But I didn't want to ruin this moment for her because she's a very caring sister, and if I'm ever hurt, she wants to be the first to help. Um, so in this instance, I didn't want to tell her. The only two people that knew were the first person to know, or the first two were my parents. I let them know, and they kind of supported me and understood where I was coming from. I told my roommate, um, just because we played games almost every night. So I let him know that night because I got on with him, and he kind of helped distract me from it, which was good. Um, but yeah, I other than that, I didn't really tell anyone. And we had these graduation party type things, and I probably looked a little distressed or upset during them, but I tried to hide it. I tried to not think about it, but it's kind of hard because I was with her for a good year and a little over a year, and going from that to not talking at all is such a spike and such a difference. Um, so I held off from telling people for about a week. Then after a week, after the whole graduation blew over, I started to let people know. There's still a ton of people. Most of uh, my family knows, and my roommate knows. I none of my other friends know, just because it's not it's not something you bring up. I don't think you bring it up if you want attention. And I've always sometimes I would do things out of the blue to get attention, and I've been trying to move on from that, and I have for the most part. I don't really like to do things for attention because I look back and it grosses me out, the type of stuff people do. And so I'm not planning on telling anyone until if someone brings it up. Sure, I'll tell them and I'll talk about it and I'll explain it, but it's not something that people directly need to know. It really isn't. Um, so I'm not bringing it up. obviously I'm talking about it here just because I want to document this and document my thoughts as it's happening, for later reference when I look back at these. Um, but yeah, the first 2 nights she would talk to me, and she texted me asking if we could talk. And the first night I said I don't really want to talk right now, um, just because I felt like she was gonna try and get me back, and that's not what I wanted. I wanted this breakup. And the next night she she asked if we could talk again, and I told her, yeah, we can talk. Maybe she just wants some closure, and that's fine, and I understand that. What was weird though is she called me on FaceTime like we always did, and that was really weird to me. I expected like a phone call or something like that, um, but I just sat there and watched her cry, and I didn't do anything about it. I furthered my explanation for why I did it, and I just told her like, hey, you have people in your life that care about you. Um, Find those people right now and hang out with them and just enjoy the summer on your own. Like we don't need to be stuck in this. And there were a few things and points that she made that I really think were her efforts in getting me back. But again, that's not what I wanted. And I was happy with the outcome that happened, even though I was sad at the time and I felt a little lost. It's what I wanted, so I stuck to that. And one point that I want to make that's a little weird situation. Her best friend is really good friends with me. Um, so in her instance, I didn't really know it was going to happen. Um, I I let her know. Obviously, she knew immediately from my girlfriend, but she talked to me and she just wanted to make sure everything was all right. And we still talk every day. I talk with a lot of my college friends every day, um, just through Snapchat streaks and stuff like that. It's a way to stay connected for me. Um, so I still talk to her, and I don't know how my girlfriend feels about, or I guess I say my girlfriend, but my ex girlfriend. I don't know how she feels about it, but I don't think my friend is gonna stop talking to me just because of the breakup, um, which is nice. It's another person to talk to, even though it's a little awkward, and you could look at it as like breaking girl code, but uh, like whatever. I don't know. It's not my decision to make. If she really feels like she needs to stop talking to me, I guess she'll let me know that, and we'll be done with it. But I still talk to her, which is good, and she's kind of on my side. She understands why I do it. I heard from her that my ex girlfriend kind of seemed reasonable when I kept explaining it further, and she kind of understood. And it sounds like now she hates my guts. So that's kind of funny to me, actually. But you know, I'm not a bad guy. I'm really not. It just didn't work out. We didn't have anything in common, and it's just the fact that I saw that before she did, and she's just upset with that. And I think she'll grow out of it. She'll mature, and she'll understand it and be thankful for it. But yeah, my friend is just kind of on my side, but not obviously saying that to my ex girlfriend because that would be a shitty thing to say. But we've just been talking. Funny thing is, I think my friend now kind of has a crush on me, but it's not like she can act on that. And I wouldn't date her anyway. She is not my type, and she has nothing in common with me. But I'm just, I got a good hunch, just because of how she talks to me recently. Now that I'm out of this relationship, and it's kind of weird, but at the same time, it's kind of funny. Um, but whatever, I'll just lead her on. Why not? That's a shitty thing to do. I'll just respond like I normally will. Um, but yeah, for the summer, I don't want to be with a girl. I'm turning 21 towards the end of the summer. Last summer, I didn't really see my friends, like I said, because I was with her most of the time. Um, So I'm just gonna enjoy my summer. I'm gonna catch up with my high school friends. I'm going to hang out with my two of my college buddies, I think, once this whole quarantine thing's over. Um, and just I'm not interested in establishing a relationship or anything for the time being. I think I'm just gonna play it solo, which I think is gonna do a lot for me as far as this summer. I think I'm gonna have a lot more fun, and um, I've been with my sister a lot just because she's in quarantine. Her boyfriend doesn't see her as much as he typically would, so we've just been hanging out a lot, which has been fun. And I enjoyed that. And I'm picking up some work with my dad, and we do stuff almost every other day. Today he owns some duplexes he's renting out, so we went over today, and kind of worked on the lawns a little bit, and I've been just keeping busy. It's still in the back of my mind. It's only been 2 weeks. I know it'll start to run dry, but for now, it's still obviously in the back of my mind. But it's getting a lot better, and I'm feeling better about myself. Um, I will say, like, I go to bed every night still happy that I made the decision now than I would have planned on in a couple months. Um, I still play games with my roommate almost every night, um, and I've just been enjoying it so far. And I reached out to some other college friends, um, and I've been talking with them in general about summer and everything. And I'm still trying to find an apartment with my roommate and my other college buddy. So I'm staying busy. This is the first real breakup, and I'm handling it well. Obviously, again, though, I was the one that broke up with her, so it's a little different, and I know that it'll be different in the future if it's ever the other way around, which I'm sure it will be. But yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right, and I just wanted to document this. Um, but yeah, I'm guessing no one's gonna ever really listen to this point. It's been going for 32 minutes. It's gonna take a hell of a long time to upload with my shitty internet. Um, but yeah, I guess thanks for watching. If there's anything that I didn't cover, any other points that someone wants to address to me, feel free. Um, it's kind of like an open book at this point. I don't care too much. Um, I'm just moving on, and I'm happy about that. Thanks for watching.